Many games are revered as classics, never aging jewels that still glisten after 10, 15, 20 plus years. Other such games are nothing more than just a shadow of what they once were. This is Rioshoa, and welcome to Aging Gaming. What is a man? In some cases, a losery loser who hasn't experienced Castlevania. Yes, I admit it, I've barely ever played a Castlevania game. For the first time a couple of years ago, I played Super Castlevania 4, and outside of that, I've only ever played the 64 title at my local movie store. It was a demo. I hated it. That being said, I have seen gameplay for a few of the games, and it's never really compelled me to play any of the titles. I'm sorry if that offends you, but just how I am. And I do know the older Castlevania games are more about reaching the end, and the newer ones are more about exploring the world set before you. You know, see Metroidvania. Since I'm doing the show, and hey, occasionally I even update with new videos. I figured it'd be best to start from the first. Castlevania had to have taken off because it was so good, right? And whenever I ask around, I tend to get the same response. It's fun, but hard as balls. Then I always respond in kind with, are we talking about a baseball? Those are pretty hard. Or do you mean like the golf ball? Because those are hard. Those are like the hardest type of ball, aren't they? I mean, I've held a foam ball, and they're not all that hard. You need to be more specific. Maybe it's like a bouncy ball. Well, the point is, I'm told it's a fun yet hard game. And I think I should leave my comfort zone a little and try something I really have literally no nostalgia for whatsoever, and judge the game for myself. Did Konami really make an all-time star, or is this just another classic NES hard game with more frustration than enjoyment? Alright, time to see just how awesome this game really is. New game, start! Huh. I heard this series had really great music. Was I mistaken? Like, I am not kidding. This is literally what happened the first time I started up this game. I had to actually reset the system. There we go. Much better. Seriously, that was odd. It hasn't happened again since, so let's get right to the review. And since the soundtrack is giving me the hardest of times, let's tackle that first. Now, when I say tackle, I think I mean more like hug with love. I think nearly every soundtrack is actually flawless. Like, it's really good. This game is designed to drive you forward with its music, to make you feel like you can really do it. It's simple, like any NES title would be, and really catchy. I have caught myself humming this tune a few times while in town. I love the music. God fucking damn it! I apologize to your ears. I'm not exactly musically inclined, as you can probably all tell by now. Chances are my death brought you all great joy. Alright. So the music is great. But is the game as hard as it's rumored? Well, in order to figure that out, we need to look at a few things beforehand. First of all, how does the game look? Yes, it doesn't have a million, bajillion, billion, trillion, zillion polygons to make the game look super amazing and sharp. But then again, it doesn't have to still have a pleasant look. And for all it's worth, I do enjoy what I generally see. It's got strong, solid colors that allow for our hero, Simon Belmont, as well as enemies and objects to stand out, strong and fairly distinguished from the background and each other. Although, looking at Simon, what the hell's up with that strut? Like, he seriously looks like he's on a power walk or something. I seriously think this is hilarious. Alright, so the game looks solid, but what about the other major factors? Say, for example, controls. Well, we are talking about the NES controller, so we only have a couple of buttons to work with. B is used for your whip, which is your primary weapon. That can also be upgraded. And A is to jump. The thing is, you also have a secondary weapon, which you need to hold up, and the attack button to use. I don't get why you couldn't just have it switched with, say, the select button or something like that. Playing the game now, I don't have a book to use, so it's just a little annoying going into this. But at the same time, this is a flaw that really had no way of being avoided. The NES just had too few buttons. Kudos to Konami though. Although it's a slow main weapon, they did include the detail of having the wind-up to swing the whip. So, alright, so the game is alright in the control aspect as well. Then what's left to make the game hard then? Well, that leaves stage design and enemies. The latter, from my experience, playing through the game, has a solid curve. Most enemies die in 1 to 3 hits on average, the exception being bosses and axe knights found near the end of the game. And generally, no jump or spacing feels too impossible to work around. The bosses definitely know how to throw a lot at you and keep you on your toes though. So you might be asking, well Rio, is the game as hard as everyone claims? You make it sound like it's not really hard at all. Well... no. It's not really all that hard. I blew through the game in about an hour and a half. That being said, there are some really big challenges. In short, anything in the air is a total asshole. Medusa heads are famed for their constant irritation, and I can see why, but in all reality, so are any of the other enemies in the game that can get any airtime, or projectiles for that matter. They are annoying as hell to hit, and generally are complemented by death pits, and or other enemies that can inflict harm. Death sights? Crows? These... Fleamen? What the fuck kind of name is that? The hell with a lot of them. The hell with them all! Oh, and on a side note, I just love how Simon looks when he dies. He looks like someone just gave him a dick punch. Ugh! So with this, we have reached conclusion time. The game definitely has a lot of challenges, sure, but they are really based on sporadic aerial movements and access to secondary weapons. Generally speaking, I enjoyed using the throwing axes during the early part of the game, and the holy water during the latter half. And you should be fine getting through most of the challenges on that alone. The game is definitely a lot of fun, although beating it does unlock hard mode. I didn't really care bad enough to make the game harder for myself. Just saying. Still, with all that being said, it's worth the $5 price tag it has easily. Hell, it'd be worth a $10 price tag. And I can see myself giving this another playthrough in the very near future. Very, very near future. And you know what? If you haven't, you yourself, you should give this old school classic a try. Hey everybody, thanks for making it through another review of mine. It was definitely a lot of fun to put together. I'm really happy you actually, made it all the way to the end there, and I hope you have all the more incentive to try this game out for yourself, because really, no nostalgia, nothing, still got my seal of approval. And hey, if you want another seal of approval, feel free to maybe click that subscribe button, maybe the like button, and, I don't know, share with some people. Like, hundreds, thousands even. Seriously, do